All right, it's April 9th. I'm gonna work on the ampli-torque today. Got Joe Pro came down to help me. So Wendell Everett stopped by last night, picked up some parts I had for him. He dropped off a bunch of parts I needed. So I'm gonna go through what I've done so far today. So I was going in to get back in the cavity where the torque is this plate, which was really stuck in there. So I had to heat it and take it out. Ended up melting the shims that's on the inside, but it would not come out. I worked on it for 3 days. So got it out, but in doing all this, I forgot that the drain for the ampli-torque is here underneath the step. And the stuff that's in there is the consistency of like really thick pudding. So I'm not sure that even if I would have remembered to drain it, it would have come out. But anyway, when that cover popped off, I ended up having the nastiest, thickest gear oil all over everything in here. I just got done cleaning it up. Joe Pro just got here, and I've been cleaning while he's been working on stuff. So to get over to the torque, what they had done is this, with the Sprag clutch and all, that hub was still in the tractor. So they obviously, this came with an ampli-torque. They just took it out at some point, but this thing is rusty in there. It's pretty nasty. They had replaced, since they took the torque out, they replaced it with this shaft with this adapter to go in there. So that shaft replaces the ampli-torque. Got the hub here in a few minutes. We're gonna drive out and put a new Sprag clutch in. And then back here on this hub, that's a new old stock hub that Wendell had to replace this one, which was kind of ridged up, which you don't want. So we've got that done. I got to put wire back through these nuts because that's the way it's got to be. And that's kind of where we are. So we're gonna keep plugging away at this. My biggest faux pas for the day is having, I don't know how many gallons of the nastiest grease ever all over everything, but that's just looking back in the hole now that we've got everything out. And we're gonna keep plugging away, and I'll keep updating you as we make progress on this.
What we have here is our ampli-torque Sprag clutch hub. We're changing out the actual Sprag clutch assembly, one-way clutch, overrunning clutch. It's what provides the low side of the ampli-torque. And we just remove the snap ring in the back to gain a little more access with a punch. Remove the snap ring in the front. And the Sprag clutch is actually sandwiched in between these two bearings, and we were able to just gently pound it out as one assembly, and then we will clean it up and reinstall it as individual pieces. When you're reinstalling all the bearings and the clutch and the ampli-torque hub, there's holes in the top of the clutch hub bearings, and they need to be aligned with the holes in the top of the hub. And there's actually an oil deflector that will bolt on here at a later time. That's kind of important.
All right, so what we've done, we've got this all locked. We've kind of adjusted it as close as we can outside the tractor. One of the things it says to do is there's oil grooves in the top on each one of these gears. So we get those lined up. We actually marked them on the outside to make sure that we get everything lined up. And then we fit it into the hub where the Sprag clutch is. Now, one of the things, it's a one-way, the Sprag is a one-way, so I can't go back this. And before we took it apart, we knew that it was a clockwise is where our rotation should be. So we've got all that lined up. We're just test fitting, make sure everything's the way it should be, and then we'll start putting stuff in the tractor. One of the things I wanted to do before we put this back together is I swabbed out, I'll try to get down in here to show you, but I swabbed out the inside down by the plug. You can kind of see back in the bearing and the different parts that are in inside here. but it was some nasty stuff in there. But I've got it all cleaned out now, so we'll work on putting everything back in there. All right, so right now Joe's putting the 6 bolts in that hold the hub in the back there with the Sprag clutches in it. He's got to reach around the planetary there and tighten those. And there is a little notch in the planetary in order to line up your, he's pointing at it there. You can get your extension in there and tighten those bolts behind it. So it barely fits through that little hole when you put it all in together. But now he's using the extension to get in there to tighten those down. All right, we're getting ready to put, we've got all that bolted in. Now we're going to get ready to slide in. Just put the thrust bearing in there, and then Joe's going to slide this over the shaft, get everything lined up.
Yeah. And you want to note that you make sure that you have the high side clutch pack locked in for installation. You might have to turn that off because I'm going to have you. But this is so tight.
All right, we've got it in there, and then we just put the handle in. So we put the new seal in down there, put a little RTV around it, carefully pushed it in, and then we put the 2 roll pins at the top for the yokes that go down to activate the torque. We dry fit the shims to the cover to make sure everything's fit. Now we're getting ready to put a new torque seal in it. Joe's cleaning it
check
up.
your end play on the unit.
Yeah, we had to check the end play to make sure on the shims that we had a little bit of movement in the shaft, which we have with using 2 blues and a yellow. So we're going to get ready to put the torque seal in, then put the shims on with a little bit of RTV to make sure that it doesn't leak around them, and then we'll put the bearing back in there and put it back together. All right, we're finishing putting the cover in. We put some painter's tape on those
On your splines for the ampli-torque?
The splines there, yeah, so that we wouldn't tear the torque seal putting it in. Joe's tightening it down. He's going around and make sure everything gets tightened evenly. We've got the lever bungeed forward. When the cover's off, you got to hold that forward. So whenever you take that cover off, you got to make sure that you keep the lever forward. If it drops into low, when you have that front cover off, it's all kinds of trouble. So make sure that you've got that done. Now we've got it. We'll peel the painter's tape off in there. But that's basically the whole thing. He's checking to make sure we got some play, which we do with the shims in there. That's what we were checking. We were tri-fit to make sure that we had enough play. And now the torque's in. So we'll probably put the throwout bearing and all that stuff back together while we're back here. And I think we're gonna have to turn the flywheel, but we might mess around on this side just a little to make sure things are where they need to be when we get the flywheel back. All right, so we got her all buttoned back up. We had to do a little adjustment on the torque lever. Got a pretty good snap out of it now. It was a little loose after we initially put it in there, but we did it in through the hole there. It's pretty easy to do. And got the throwout bearing, new grease tube, all that stuff redone there. So we're good on that side. Flywheel's gonna need turned, so not gonna be able to finish putting the clutch and stuff on today. But a lot closer to having this thing done. Once I get the flywheel turned, I can have this thing back together here pretty quickly. And then it's a matter of hooking everything up and starting it and hearing it run. So I figure I won't put the clutch back. I've done other videos showing how to do the clutch on Jetstars, and it's all the same. So I'm just gonna leave this video more about doing the torque, and it's back together. Can't wait to drive this thing and get it running again. So I need to go dump a whole bunch of gear oil, nasty gear oil, And then, yeah, the 9th of April, it has been like a blizzard outside. The sun has come out, then it has rained, then it is blizzard, and then there was a point in time when there was steam coming off the ground, and right now it's starting to rain again. Joe left about 10 minutes ago, and we walked around the 302 and the M5 out front, just showing them to him, and the sun was out, and I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad, and I looked to the north, and I'm like, nope, Snowmageddon's about ready to hit us. So crazy weather this spring. So that's kind of where we're at on this, and ampli-torque is in, and I hope everybody learned a little bit about it, because I know I learned a whole lot about doing one. So until the next video, thanks for watching.